Pokemon and Hololive. Two things I love very much, but what if we put them together? Hello YouTube, today we'll be answering the question, what if Ouro Kronii was a Pokemon gym leader? Now for context, a Pokemon gym leader is a high-ranking Pokemon trainer that usually restricts themselves to just one type of Pokemon. In the video games, they act as the bosses of the game. If you defeat 8 gym leaders, you can challenge the Elite Four. If you defeat the Elite Four, you can challenge the Pokemon League Champion. If you defeat the Pokemon League Champion, you are now a Pokemon Master. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, for Kronii's team, I really want to focus on her lore, her themes, and her personality, of course. As for which type of Pokemon she'll use, I kind of went back and forth on 2 types, one being Steel and the other one being Psychic. Ultimately, I decided to go with Psychic types as I feel like it will be better fitting for her abilities. In the lore, Kronii has the ability to control time, as she is the Time Warden herself. So we'll be picking a team that looks like they could fight alongside her, using abilities like Trick Room to manipulate time to allow slow Pokemon to become fast and fast Pokemon to become slow. And of course we'll be incorporating Pokemon that can utilize the move Future Sight, which allows them to unleash an attack that will hit an enemy in the future. And just like with my previous video on Gargura, we will not be using any legendary or mythical Pokemon. We will be ignoring things like terrestrializing and Mega Evolution, at least for this set of series, as I think that could complicate things. The Pokemon team that we're building will of course be a bit stronger than what you'd see in a normal Pokemon game, or like how the gym leaders only have like 2 Pokemon. We'll always be building a team of 6 and they will be very strong. And of course, please remember that I am restricted to the single type Pokemon per team, so we might have to stretch things a little bit to make them make sense. And although I am using the video games as kind of like the blueprint for these teams, I'd like you to imagine them as if they were in the anime, having these epic battles with incredible animation. Alright, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on this team. Okay, so Kronii's whole team is going to be built around Trick Room, as we said. Trick Room allows slow Pokemon to go first in battle, meaning that even if the opponent's Pokemon is faster, the slower Pokemon will always go first. It is a psychic type move. I like to think of this as like how Kronii can kind of manipulate time, so that's why we're building around Trick Room. And for her ace Pokemon, we're going to go with Bronzong. I think Bronzong is a fantastic choice because not only does Bronzong learn Trick Room with her TM, Bronzong gets access to Gyro Ball, and Gyro Ball allows Bronzong to deal more damage the faster their opponent is. Even if Trick Room is activated, it will still calculate speed like normal, so the faster the opponent is, the more powerful Gyro Ball will be, regardless if Bronzong attacks first or not. Bronzong is also a Steel Psychic type, so it allowed me to incorporate some of that Steel typing I wanted to put in Kronii's team, while still being a Psychic type Pokemon for its one type for gym leader per team. Bronzong has this very intimidating appearance, like very bulky Pokemon. I think fits Kronii perfectly. Kronii being the Time Warden, the Guardian of Time. I just think it's a perfect match in that sense. Alrighty, the next Pokemon I want to talk about is Hatterene. This is a Psychic Fairy type Pokemon. This Pokemon gets access to moves like Psychic and Dazzling Gleam. It has high special defense bulk with really high special attack as well. It's a slow Pokemon, so it makes perfect sense to have this in a Trick Room team. I think this Pokemon represents Kronii's more beautiful, elegant side. This Pokemon also allows Kronii to counter her team's weakness, which would be Dark type Pokemon, as it has moves like Dazzling Gleam to deal super effective damage against them. Alright, so next up is Galarian Slowking. This Slowking has this kind of like commander-like aura about him. He's highly intelligent, just like Kronii. He's yet another Trick Room setter, has high special bulk as well as high special attack. He even has decent defense as well as good HP. Galarian Slowking is actually a poison psychic type, so it gives her yet another type of Pokemon to use besides just psychic. Poison type is of course strong against bug type Pokemon, which gives her another advantage against her weakness, as psychic Pokemon are weak to bug types. Galarian Slowking can also get access to a lot of self-powering moves like Nasty Plot and Amnesia. He can also restore his own HP using Slack Off. Galarian Slowking has his appearance like he could help Kronii command her team. According to the lore, Galarian Slowking has really high intelligence, and it's actually the Shelder that is in control of the body. So I guess it's more accurate to say that the Shelder has really high intelligence. Alright, so next up is going to be Metagross. I don't know if it's Metagross or Metagross, but this Pokemon has a very bodyguard-like appearance, like he's meant to protect something, which is perfect for Kronii's Time Warden status. This Pokemon is actually the fastest member of Kronii's team, but even at base 70 speed, he's still slower than a lot of other commonly used Pokemon, so he still fits right into Trick Room in my opinion. Maybe not the best Pokemon for it, but he won't be setting up Trick Room anyway. He'll be dishing out damage, as he is a Psychic Steel type Pokemon, which means he has access to moves like Zen Headbutt, Meteor Mash, Bullet Punch. Metagross focuses more on physical based damage, and he has incredible bulk with high physical defense at base 130, which is incredible. And even his special defense is pretty good as well. Metagross could have easily been Kronii's ace Pokemon as well, but I wanted to make sure that her ace Pokemon had access to Trick Room. Also, this Pokemon is freaking huge. He's 5 foot 3 inches, weighs over 1,200 pounds. I would never want to meet this Pokemon in real life. Okay, next up is Malamar. Malamar I think fits perfectly into Kronii's aesthetic. I don't know why, it just does. Maybe because of the blue hair, I don't know. But there's something about it that reminds me of Kronii. This is another Trick Room setter. It is a little bit faster than I'd like it to be. Honestly, Girafarig Evolved form probably would have been a better choice, but I don't think that Pokemon fits aesthetically into Kronii's team. So instead, we're going to go with Malamar. Malamar gets a really cool ability called Contrary, which basically makes moves that lower its stats increase its stats instead, and vice versa. Malamar is a Dark Psychic type, which is pretty cool. Being a Dark Psychic type means that it gets rid of its weakness to Ghost, and Dark types are strong against Ghost as well, while Psychic types are strong against Fighting type Pokemon, which is the weakness to Dark types. So a pretty cool Pokemon overall. This Pokemon isn't fast by any means, but it is around the same speed as Metagross. It actually might be just a little bit faster. So this might actually be Kronii's fastest Pokemon. The cool thing about Malamar is that with the Contrary ability, it can use moves like Superpower, which is a strong fighting type physical attack, but lowers its own attack and defense. But because of Contrary, it'll actually increase those stats instead. Malamar also gets access to Foul Play, which the higher the opponent's attack stat is, the greater the damage will be. This is a Dark type attack. And it gets access to Psycho Cut, which is a physical Psychic type attack that has a high chance of critical hits. Malamar has this really opposing appearance, much like Kronii, and that's why he was chosen over Girafarig's Evolved form. But I suppose if you want a better fitting Trick Room Pokemon, maybe Girafarig's Evolved form. Sorry, I can't remember the name, but Girafarig's Evolved form will probably be a better fit if you want to go all out. Okay, for our final Pokemon, we're going to go with Reuniclus. Reuniclus might not fit Kronii in terms of aesthetics, but he does fit this team very well. Reuniclus is a slow Pokemon that can get access to Trick Room, but on top of that, Reuniclus can get access to Future Sight, which is definitely on theme with Kronii's time powers. Future Sight is an attack that will hit the enemy in the future, as well as Reuniclus gets access to Recover. We can look at Recover as a move that reverses time on itself, so that it can get rid of the damage it has. Recover is basically just a self-healing move, but we can use the lore in this way. Reuniclus is also the only Pokemon on this team that's a pure Psychic type. I guess if we wanted to stretch things a little bit, we could say that Reuniclus does look like it comes from a different time period, maybe the future. It is an almost alien-like Pokemon, and other than that, I really don't have too much to say on this Pokemon. It has high special attack, good bulk, and it's slow, meaning it's perfect for Trick Room. It gets access to Future Sight and Recover, which we can stretch to say that Recover matches our Time Warden's powers. We could also say that Future Sight is very on theme, and of course Trick Room also very on theme. Okay, that's it for Kronii's team, but we're not done yet. I want to talk about Kronii's gym next. I imagine Kronii's gym to be like a clock tower like appearance, with a lot of moving gears, a lot of moving pedestals, platforms, and all that type of stuff. A very almost like a workshop like appearance, I guess, on the inside. It's like that one level in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the time clock level. That's what I'm imagining. I imagine that you'll be having to move a lot of gears and stuff, solve a lot of little puzzles to move you forward. Maybe some little teleporting platforms to get you place to place. And then, okay, so after the gym, once we reach Kronii, now we have to ask ourselves, how does Kronii introduce herself? What does she say to us? So here's some pre-battle quotes I came up with. And then the battle begins. Now I also came up with some quotes that Kronii could use if, say, she was getting the advantage in battle. Take a look. Okay, so we're finally able to overcome Kronii and defeat her. Here's what she could say post-battle. Okay, and that is a wrap. What did you think of Kronii's Pokemon team? And do you have any suggestions yourself? I was trying really hard to stick to her time-based lore, using Future Sight with Ranunculus, Trick Room with a couple of the Pokemon, while still trying to maintain some kind of aesthetic for her. I feel like she has a good Steel-type aesthetics, that's why I wanted to include Pokemon like Bronzong, and of course, Metagross. But I also wanted to capture some of that more elegant side. I guess you can see that in Hatterene and maybe Malamar a little bit. I gave Slowking the kind of commander role. I just really like the way he looks. He has this really imposing appearance to him. But anyway, that's the end of the video. Tell me what you think about it. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Catch you in the next one. Bye.